everybody, and welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I am TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim. And after a long period of mourning, the Yinzer Bros have returned. Even though the Steelers are out of the playoff race, the Steelers have been busy as of late. We're going to be talking about some of the moves that they've made. Tim is not happy with some of the moves, but I'm on the other side of it. We'll see. But before we get to those moves, Tim, how are you doing since the dreadful loss to the Browns?
Let me see here. I was doing fine. I was getting over it. The body was starting to gel back to normal form. And all of a sudden, they're firing people. I'm going, okay, we're going to see some movement here. And then, just like the Steelers, they suck me right back in and put me into depressing modes on a Thursday afternoon.
A mental pretzel.
But I mean, unreal, dude. Flipping real.
So, I mean, how do you feel, as we watch the rest of the playoffs, basically the mighty AFC North that had three teams in the playoffs done?
I mean,
how do you feel about Cleveland getting beat?
They had that game for the taking, which was absolutely frightening because, put it this way, that was like, I turned into whoever's playing Cleveland. I don't care if they won by murdering people. I just wanted them to beat Cleveland to knock them out of the game. When I saw Mahomes go down, I go, this is my worst nightmare happening right before my eyes. I was like, the poopy stench off the Cleveland Browns, it's wearing off. They're going to win. And then to see that run, I go, that game was there for the taking, man. I have a feeling if they don't get that first down, that was like my Super Bowl right there. I was like, yeah, let Cleveland get out. And then, boy, was I wrong on Baltimore. Holy moly.
Buffalo's tough, don't they?
Wagon. They look like a wagon.
What do you think of Lamar Jackson? I know he got hurt and all that stuff, but dude, I don't think he is shaking the stigma of the big game still.
No, he stinks. People were kind of saying really wasn't his fault throwing that interception. I'm like, no, that was 100% his fault. You know what? I'd be curious to see too if what's his name doesn't miss those field goals to see how that game goes. Because
and that's crazy. That's bananas, dude.
Yeah, when I saw that first one he missed, I go. Then I saw him suck the second one. I go, because you figured it would have been like 9-6 or 9-3 or something like weird at halftime. Yeah. So that would have been interesting to see. But, dude, I don't know, man. Like, he poops the bed, literally. He poops the bed in big games. And I will say, I think Buffalo took a page they had to have taken a page out of Pittsburgh's.
They did.
Because they defended him better than I've seen. Mm-hmm. Almost any team defend him.
I think the books get down on him. Now he's going to make his runs and he's elusive and he's a great athlete, but if he's got to throw to beat you, I just don't think he can do it.
You know what? Things that make any sense is like they really didn't need to throw. They failed on the goal line. The game was so close. When the 100-yard thing happened, that game was over. It was a wrap. They really didn't need to do that. I would have ran the ball a zillion times because it wasn't like Buffalo was stopping their run.
No,
that's what didn't make any sense to me. And I was like, yeah. And then when he went out of the game, yeah, it was a wrap. I was like, they bought some other guy, and I go, dude, I was like, Baltimore's quarterbacks are all the same. They all can't throw. All they can do is run. They're all the same. They stink.
That's right.
They stink. So I don't know, man. Buffalo's a wagon right now, man. Buffalo is a wagon.
So is there any word on Mahomes yet? Is he cleared
He's
protocol?
TJ. I think that they at some point, like Monday or Tuesday, they said he really didn't have a concussion. He got the wind knocked out of him and got like choked out. I'm going.
No, he couldn't. They had to pick him up. He was dinged pretty good.
They're finding doctors that are like Michael Jackson's doctor was like described him like they're like, trust me, Patty Mahomes will be under center on Sunday.
Yeah, you remember the good old days we played football and you just to get your bell rung. We didn't even know what concussions were.
I mean, I remember I had a couple. I had to have. I know one that I had bad where, Tom was waking me up every 15 minutes in the bed, and guess what? I suited up next week and I played.
I got a knot right here from a concussion back in 10th grade. So that had to be 87, maybe 87.
I mean, TJ, look at this nose. This nose has been demoralized, and I guarantee it's been pushed back into my skull about 1,000 times.
Yeah,
so that tells me my brain is on the verge of beef stew right now.
Probably. Well, it's interesting. I'll say that. And then doggone it, when you look to the other side, I mean, I feel bad for Breeze, but he's done. And can please don't let Brady get in again, please. Is there anything worse than that?
At this point, I mean, to me, it'd be kind of comical knowing how bad Buffalo has had it over the years. To see them have to go against Brady and try to slay that dragon would be absolutely. I mean, I want to say I'm cheering for Buffalo now, but nothing would please me more to see that whole fan base get their hearts ripped out again. I get pleasure if I got to be in pain. I want other fan base to be in pain. Yeah, dude. I mean, their defense is looking like it's not so much even their offense; it's their defense is looking scary, man.
It'll be. I tell you, them in Green Bay will be interesting. I'd like to see Buffalo win. So I've been to Buffalo, man. There's nothing in Buffalo. They need some type of happiness. Buffalo is like a lesser version of Cleveland. It's a lesser version of Cleveland.
No, because I have a feeling they're going to win and they're going to be the ones kind of start running their mouth and talking like they're the greatest thing in sliced bread. I'd rather see them be losers.
Yeah, well, you know what? Kansas City kind of did that too. So I don't know. We'll see. It's the playoffs are interesting. We'll see what's going on. So let's talk a little bit about some of the Steelers moves. You're right. Steelers, they didn't waste much time. They fired a lot of people, which I think that's good. I think it's good. You clear house. They got rid of Fichtner, your guy.
That guy. I mean, good God.
Got rid of him. Got rid of the offensive line coach. He was terrible. Tight end coach? Did he retire? Or the running back coach?
Tight end coach retired.
Tight end coach retired, and then there was another guy who they get rid of, a defensive coach. Who was that? A cornerback coach or something?
Yeah, Bradley. He used to coach at Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State, get rid of him. So they made some moves. So now, obviously they're looking at offensive coordinators. Now, I thought, and I was incorrect, I thought that they had given it to Matt Canada, but apparently that's fake news.
That's 100% fake. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I just don't know what they're doing.
So we know they brought in your buddy Hugh Jackson came in.
Is this what's going on in the South Side right now?
Hugh,
just bring him in by touch, by feel. Is this what? I mean, what is going on right now? Hugh Jackson, of all the people you could bring in, of all of them,
yeah.
TJ, I would rather bring in Tequila Cowboy Haley than Hugh Jackson.
Well, did you see too? They're bringing in the
Jackson.
they're bringing in the QB coach from
Hamilton?
The Colts too.
Hamilton.
Pep Hamilton. Yeah.
You can't find anybody. Oh, it infuriates me. Okay, it infuriates me that it seems like either one of these are like Mike Tomlin's buddies, or it's like they're not. If I'm the Steelers, I'm saying, okay, I see some of these new age offenses. Mm-hmm. Let me go to the places where you see that at. You see it in LA. You see it somewhere in San Francisco. You see it somewhere in, and you want to establish the running game again. That's the big thing. Especially, why don't you go pluck somebody, the running coordinator from San Francisco, or pluck I think the quarterback's coach is everybody's really high on over there at the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
What are you bringing in Hugh Jackson for? The dude hasn't had it. The dude, okay, I'm not going to talk about his head coaching because it was just mind-boggling. As an offensive coordinator, TJ, he hasn't had an offense ranked higher than 16th ever. Yeah. And you bring that dude in? I mean, I don't understand that
crazy
at all. I don't understand it at all. And I mean, Pep Hamilton, I think he was because he's not with the Colts. He's the Colts now.
Mm-hmm.
I figured he was somebody else before that. I forget who it was.
I think he was with didn't he do something with the Rams too?
I don't remember, man.
I think he was a Rams guy.
What is he going to do? You know,
Well, give me who else do you think who would be a viable candidate for that?
Again, to me, like I said, I would be bringing in people that I know have explosive different offenses. Like the Niners, they were decimated with injury. You can still run the ball, and they're running it with guys like me and you. So it tells me.
Actually, you know what? He's quarterback coach right now for the Rams. So he was with Indy. He's with the Rams. So if you're talking about a running flavor, maybe he's your guy.
Is it the Rams or is it the Chargers?
He's with the Rams. Oh, Chargers. Excuse me. Yeah, that's different.
It's big difference. Big difference. So,
you think?
Big difference. Yeah. So to me, it's one of those things like San Francisco. So they run the ball nonstop, and it's scheme. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you go take a chance on and that's what you want to do? Establish your running, and that's the big thing they're talking. Why don't you go grab the running? I know they have a running. They have to have somebody in their running coordinators or whatever out there. Go grab them. Do that. Go to the Rams. Grab somebody fresh. Grab somebody young. I'm sick of seeing these. Pep Hamilton's been around. He's not like he's young. I'm sick of seeing these treads. I mean, Canada.
Maybe he's the guy then.
TJ, let me hear why he's not the guy. He lasted 1 year at LSU as the offensive coordinator. They got rid of him. The next year they won the national title. Yeah. What does that say about Matt Canada? You had all that talent there, Burrow and all those dudes, and you get fired?
Yeah.
That tells me all I need to know about Matt Canada. I don't want to, Mr. Jet Sweep. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't like that. I hate that play. It's like they don't know what's coming, but everybody,
to me,
I mean, Tom, who's dead, knows it's coming.
Well, to me, as I didn't understand too, is you're seeing they fired all these people like early last week. They didn't do anything. All these other teams are interviewing people I'm seeing left and right. They're not doing anything. They're twiddling their thumbs. I don't get it. And don't even get me started on the offensive line coach they want to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from he was the offensive line coach in Detroit. TJ, you know where Detroit finished in the run game this year? 30th. We were 32nd. Why are you? Because this dude had a cup of coffee here. He played for Robert Morris. They brought him in as a practice squad player back in the I don't know the Cower years. Because Colbert went to Robert Morris. You're going to bring him in. Colbert was over in Detroit. You're going to bring him in. It doesn't make any sense to me. You let a guy like Doug Marrone, a head coach, go to be the offensive line coach at Alabama. That dude played for the Steelers at one point. Why wouldn't you bring him in to be your offensive line coach?
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be a great pick.
It doesn't make any sense what they're doing over there in South Side. It doesn't. It doesn't. And of course, Tomlin brings back his human shield for a year-to-year thing.
He does. Well, you know what? I'm anxious to see who I think they'll find an offensive coordinator within the next couple weeks. I think.
No, TJ, they need to find an offensive coordinator within the next couple days. It's not weeks.
Well, but it's interesting because you got Ben. So my guess is this: Canada's going to be kind of like the go-between. He'll be the whoopee for Ben, and then they'll build on the future, whatever they think that is, because our offense clearly is. You wonder why they designed the offense this year the way that it is. Is it because of Ben's? They didn't know what Ben was going to bring back to the table, or is it? Or did they know what Ben was coming back with? Again, I don't think anything's wrong with Ben's arm. I think it's his legs.
Ben's coming back.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. He's got another year in him.
Then again, yeah, no, he's coming back. But to me, seeing Rivers retire and Eli's, it wouldn't stun me if he goes, you know what, I've seen enough and I'm done.
He might. Yeah.
But I don't think that's. I think he's going to be back, and to me, it's like it will be interesting to see the offensive coordinator because I still think they're doing all this for a dog and pony show, and it's going to be Canada.
It might be. It might. Because when they talk about positions too, they're required, by NFL guidelines to interview a certain amount of people. And the Rooneys are very passionate about making sure that, they get a lot of people, with choices and stuff.
Well, to me, to come out and say we're waiting to hire offensive coordinator until we get our line coach because we want to make sure they mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense to you, TJ?
Now, I would think you get the OC, then you let him do input on the line coach.
That's what makes sense to me too. So something doesn't pass the smell test, and you're bringing in some.
Well, the only thing that makes sense to me with that is that means they've already decided on Canada, and they're gonna figure something out, or maybe it's too much of a reach for them. I don't know. Well, let's talk about another move that they made, one that you were very passionate about. The Steelers signed Dwayne Haskins today. An interesting move. What's your take on that, Tim?
TJ, why? You're bringing in another. I'm starting to. I mean, TJ, I'm not trying to say this to be whatever. Tomlin. Since he's taken over this team, the culture has went down the crapper. It has went down the tubes. Look at some of these players that they've been bringing in that you never would have thought in a million years would happen to the Steelers. You got the Browns. You got the Bells. You're bringing in a dude that, TJ, he got cut from the Redskins, the Washington football team, one of the most dysfunctional organizations in the National Football League. And you're bringing this dude in. He's 23 years old. He can't stay out of the strip club. He's a complete cancer to the team. He was like that in Washington. Wouldn't show up for stuff, wouldn't do stuff. Why do you bring him in? Why? Period. You can't control the guys you got in your locker room now. You can't control Juju. It doesn't look like you control Claypool because he just seems like he can't keep his mouth shut for anything. Even when the vets, but even when the vets told him, I think Joe Hayden I saw a tweet from him saying, when he first started thinking about the Cleveland, Kenzie's going to clap you, whatever. He went out and said more stuff. The dude, at some point, your head coach has to say, shut the hell up or I'm going to start fining you guys.
Yeah.
And you wonder why he can't ever beat a Belichick, why he can't beat any of the elite coaches, because the elite coaches don't let this happen in their houses. I'm serious. TJ, it's a distraction. When you're prepping for another team, anything you do is a little distraction. It takes away from your preparation.
I agree.
It has to stop. And I blame TJ. Let me say, do you think if old man Rooney was alive, this crap would be happening?
Well, I think it's a different day. I think it's a different era.
TJ, do you think if old man Rooney was alive, this crap would be happening? TJ, we had some characters back on those Steeler teams.
Hmm?
You never heard this stuff happening.
You did. It was, they didn't have as much access to social media. It wasn't instant. I mean, I remember they told a story one time when they first drafted Mean Joe Green in his rookie year, he came off the sideline. He says, "Coach, I need some scissors." And they're like, "Why?" He says, "Because I'm going to go kill this guy." He grabs a pair of scissors and like 3 assistants jump on him to keep him off there because he was going to kill somebody. There's a reason why they called him Mean Joe Green.
I want that in my players. I want them to want to kill people on the field. I don't want people dancing and taking lives in the locker room. I don't want that.
I get it. You got to remember this though. I mean, so Juju, he is the elder statesman of the whole receiving corps. He's 23.
I understand, TJ. That's a problem.
So what would you be doing at 23? I think you're right. I think we got to set some limitations, but you got to remember this.
TJ,
we're not talking about college players.
TJ, I'm not in the National Football League. If I'm in the National Football League and I'm 23 years old and I'm looking as a leader I'm probably going to act like a leader. It wasn't like Juju didn't have guys that were older than him when he was his first couple of years either. He had some older dudes.
He had a few guys. He did. But, I mean, who do you think impacted him the most?
It's looking like AB.
Yeah. So I don't think the Haskins thing is a bad thing.
TJ,
Let me tell you
but
why.
TJ, it all comes back to your head coach. Mm-hmm. If you see that in your locker room, you put an end to it right then and there. You just say, this ain't going to happen. We're going to cut you.
So why now? When you talk about Belichick, he had his issues. I remember Gronk. I remember Gronk being at parties after losses, doing all of his stuff. This is, I think, one of the reasons why, he made it work. He'd bring in certain personalities he made stuff like Randy Moss. Randy Moss, by the time he went to the Patriots, he was a mess everywhere else. He straightened him out for a little bit, but look where Belichick's at now. Brady and those guys couldn't wait to get out of there. And they've made that very vocal.
TJ, that's cool, but guess what? After you win a bazillion championships, I'm fine with that.
So who won the championships, him or Brady? I'll tell you what, Brady goes to the championship game.
TJ, it's a loaded question, TJ. That the talent he has in Tampa, he never had that talent up in New England.
I get it, but he's still Tom Brady. So let me ask you a question: if he gets to the championship game, is Belichick still the GOAT when it comes to coaches, or does that take him down a couple notches?
No, he's still the GOAT, TJ.
What has he done without Brady this year?
TJ, I get what you're saying, but you also got to understand this whole defense opted out at the beginning of the year too.
I get that, but you know what? It is what it is.
TJ,
Brady did all that with lesser talent.
Can you imagine?
Belichick didn't do it with lesser talent. Brady did it. Is Belichick on the offense or the defensive side of the ball?
He's on the defensive side of the ball.
So what did he do from an offensive standpoint?
But could you imagine if Belichick had that Tampa team? They may not lose. They may not lose.
Here's the challenge. I don't think Belichick can coach guys like that. So they don't go up there. Every once in a while you get a throwaway up there. But I don't think he can coach guys like that. And again, is he too hard or does he not understand him? I just think Belichick's I think he's just a turd. Dude, how do you alienate Tom Brady? And then did you hear today what Bruce said or last week what Bruce said? He said the difference between me and Belichick, he said, is he goes, I'm the coach, not Tom. So that even tells you, only God knows. You talk about there's some dysfunction up there too. But let me tell you why I think Haskins is I think a good move for the Steelers. Obviously, he's got some character issues he's got to work on.
TJ, are you over there on the south side? Like, are you over there? Are you over there?
Listen to me. Now, when they brought him out, he was raw talent. He's big. He's got a big arm. He's got all the stuff.
He does not have a big arm.
He
does not have a big arm. TJ,
I beg to differ. I think he's got a big arm.
I just sat here for 2 hours beforehand reading pre combine stuff on him from different people, even crazy Todd Haley words about TJ. He doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't have an accurate arm.
I beg. Well, I think he's
TJ. There's two reasons why he's here. Arm. There's two reasons why he's here. I believe he's from Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin's hometown. And guess what? His agents are the same as Mike Tomlin. That's why he's in Pittsburgh.
So let me tell you why I think it's a good idea. Mm-hmm. One, you get a guy that is arguably, he's a first round quarterback talent. He is. How often do you get a chance to see those things happen? I think Washington,
they picked one up and had him on the roster too already. And they dumped him. Paxton was drafted by the Denver Broncos in the first round. And guess what? He was a Steeler.
Understand this though. Let's just be real. When you talk about the Broncos, Elway has no idea what he's doing. None. In the
Washington R words do.
So here, this is why I think it's a good. I think it's low risk. I think the upside's tremendous on it because if he doesn't pan out, what do you lose? Nothing. He's not competing. He's not replacing Ben. I think now Mason is better than him. Don't you think?
You're to a point right now, TJ, where that whole team is going right now. I don't want to bring those type of characters even near my team.
He may not even make it, Tim, but here's the challenge. He may not even make it out of training camp.
TJ, what makes you think, looking at the Steelers the last 5 to 8 years, they're going to say, you know what, you're acting like a knucklehead, you're out of here. What can make you think that they're going to do that in a heartbeat? What makes you think that?
Blunt.
TJ, the guy didn't go. TJ, the guy didn't show up.
And where did he go? And where
the guy didn't show up. The guy didn't show up. What about everybody else?
Where did he go?
He went to New England. Well, what about everybody else?
Chicolo.
They brought him back. They signed him. They cut him, TJ. After he went all through all that crap, they brought him back. Mm-hmm. What does that have to do?
They said, hey, I'm sorry, you're done.
TJ, come on.
I think again, I think this. I think they had to get him stupid cheap. This, you know what this tells me? Whether he's saying it or not, Ben's coming back. If Ben was not coming back, they make a different play and a different move.
Why don't you just go draft somebody?
I think they will, but I don't think now you
They're
have
not
to
going to
draft somebody super
They're
high.
they're not drafting a
Why
quarterback
not?
now.
Well,
They're
what if they
not going
draft
to
somebody
draft
in
a
the
quarterback.
fourth round?
TJ,
Why
they're
not?
not going to draft. They're not drafting a quarterback
So
now.
I think this. I think this right now. I think Mason is still better than him right now, but I think the upside of Haskins, I think he has the potential to be a better quarterback than Mason if he figures it out. Who knows?
I think you are drinking Ohio State Kool-Aid. I do, TJ. TJ, what
Dude,
TJ?
he's a steal for get him for a 1 year contract
let
to
me
see
let
if he
me
even fits or not.
let me ask you a question. When's the last time you've seen in the last 10 years since Ohio State's been a world beater, one of their quarterbacks panning out in the NFL?
No, I mean I agree. I mean,
You know
but,
why they haven't, TJ? Because they're loaded with talent around them. Especially when Dwayne Haskins was there. They had the best line in the country, some of the best players in the country. TJ, he's not good at football. He's not.
He's a project. I'll give you that.
He's a poor man's Ryan Leaf. Think about that. Just think about that. And you're bringing a cancer into the locker room.
I mean, we'll see. Do you think the Steelers, if they don't think that there had to be something for them to think that they could make this thing go?
Again, TJ,
give him a look.
Again, what I said was Mike Tomlin's
Let me ask
agent
you a question.
is the same agent as him. He's a 23-year-old kid. I think Mike Tomlin's going, TJ, you can't tell me if he's that talented and he's that has that many raw ability. 32 teams pass on him through waivers. 32.
Well,
not one
they're
team.
Not going to pay him that big. They're not going to pay him that big contract.
TJ,
of course, he passed through waivers.
TJ, not one team besides the Steelers and Carolina gave him one of these future contracts. Not one in the NFL. TJ, there's some bad teams in the NFL. Not one. Think about that. Just think about that.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think he is, would you have considered him when he came out of the draft? Was he a first rounder in your eyes?
No, I didn't think he was any good coming out of the draft.
Second rounder?
No.
So he was projected by all the experts to be a solid first rounder.
TJ,
what makes you think he isn't?
TJ,
he's got all the specs.
TJ, I don't think he has all the specs. You look, TJ, watch his tape. Here's my big thing.
He's got a plenty arm. He's got plenty of arm.
Here was my same thing about Mitchell Trubisky. He played one full season as a starter. One, TJ. You do not want that coming out of college.
I agree. I mean, he's
that is red flag number one.
How many TDs did he throw that year at Ohio State?
TJ, again, Ohio, if he was doing this,
how many did he throw? Do you know how many he threw?
He probably threw a ton.
You know how many? Let me tell you the number.
Yeah.
50.
TJ, look at
50.
TJ, do me a favor. Go back and look at the past 5-10 years of Ohio State quarterbacks. They're all going to be in that range.
I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
This dude isn't a Fields. Fields is going to be legit. You know, he looks legit. He looks like a legit NFL quarterback. This dude does not.
Look at him. You talking about his Field? You talking about is he from North Dakota? Fields? Is that
no, the guy from Ohio State right now.
Oh, the guy that. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, who's the kid from North Dakota?
If you want to talk about being raw and being that dude hits all the specs of being raw and being athletic. And if you want to say somebody that reminds me of, I would say probably Josh Allen. It's that dude. He's 6'4". I've seen him throw the ball. He could throw the ball out of the stadium. TJ,
but he's a runner too, though. He likes to run.
He can run. TJ, you need that now in the NFL. If I'm the Steelers, you could probably get him around the 10th pick. I'd trade up and grab him before they're not going to do it now. Now that they got Haskins, they're not going to do that, TJ. They're just not.
Tim, I think they're going to know by the time they get to the draft what they have with Haskins. They're going to have an idea.
TJ, how are you going to know?
What are the big knocks on Haskins right now? You're talking about his character, right?
Here's the thing, here's the thing now. Nowadays, they already said it. The way the NFLPA and everything went through, they're going through the same league protocols they went through last year with the Zooms and not being there in the facilities. So you're not going to see this dude until probably August to see if he.
So, but here's the challenge, Tim. We didn't sign him to like this massive contract. I think they get out there and he proves to be a turd. He's cut. What do you lose? And I really don't think it's going to keep them from going after somebody. I think, you know what? They had a chance to get him. They're going to get him. I think they can grab another quarterback if they want. If there's somebody there that they want,
there's TJ. It just tells me they're thinking that there's too many holes in the freaking draft for them to draft. This is one of the holes they can kind of try to plug in and play. or they were going to
see.
draft try to draft a quarterback in the 4th or 5th round, which to me is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. They do that crap. It happens every once in a blue moon that one of those quarterbacks pan out.
So let me ask you a question: if they get a chance to grab a quarterback, in the first round, or do you think that's the biggest need?
If Ben's coming back,
do you burn?
Are we saying Ben's coming back?
It doesn't matter. If you got a guy you think is the franchise guy, you go get him. But is that the biggest need right now? Are they going to spend a first or second rounder on a quarterback?
TJ, you would have to spend a first rounder. The only way I'd spend a first rounder if that kid from that we're talking about slips to us at 20, whatever, I pulled the trigger in a heartbeat.
I think they could.
You're going to go in with 4 guys like that with Haskins. That quarterback room is going to be mind-boggling to me.
Dobbs will be done, and Ben's done after this year, even if he comes back. So that leaves you basically with Mason Rudolph. Why wouldn't you get somebody else?
No, Mason's
Dobbs
done
is a free agent.
TJ, Mason's done. This is 5th year.
That's if we don't bring him back. Where do you think? How much money do you think he's going to make somewhere else?
I don't know.
Who's going to sign Mason Rudolph?
I don't know. I think he made.
It's like what you call
TJ. I think he made money off that last game he started.
But maybe we'll see. Will somebody say, "Hey, this is our backup"? I don't think he's done enough to show us all that stuff yet. I think he'll be back. Or maybe they're anticipating. Maybe they're like, he's not going to be here. Maybe Dobbs will be number 2. At this point, I don't think Haskins is better than Dobbs or Rudolph. Do you?
And why take a flyer on him? Why?
Because there's no downside.
TJ, but
it's
why
all
bring him
upside.
in?
If he sucks, you cut him.
But why even bring him in?
Because he's a first rounder. You get a chance to get a first rounder for nothing. Apparently, other organizations thought he was decent.
TJ, just because one team drafts him in the first round doesn't make him a quote unquote first rounder. Especially the Washington
projected to be the first quarterback gone in the draft. And the Giants screwed that up. They went after Jones. He was the first one taken.
TJ, Daniel Jones is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
He is, but they all projected that he was going to be the first QB taken. Everybody did. Who was above those two?
I can't remember who was in that draft. Was Wentz in that draft?
Nobody else.
No, Wentz was in that draft.
Wentz was already out. No, he's only been out 2 years. Wentz was out. He was already hurt by then. That's it. He was supposed to be the top QB. How can you pass that up? You can't. Give it a shot.
Was Josh Allen was in that draft? Wasn't he?
Allen, this is his 3rd year.
What's Haskins? This year 2 or 3?
And by the way, last year Allen sucked.
TJ, he was okay last year. Don't give me that crap,
sucked.
Dude. No, he did not.
He was not good. He was not.
TJ, how can you say that? Buffalo went to the 2nd round of the playoffs. If he sucked that bad,
he was not very good.
Just stop.
His accuracy, he wasn't very good. I think the Haskins thing I think it's worth a shot. Let's see what it is. It's worth a shot. I mean, I remember like Randy Moss going up to New England. It's a cancer. He's going to kill everybody. He did fine. I think it's you got to find the right system.
Randy Moss had Hall of Fame talent. This dude stinks.
You never know.
Have you actually watched him play?
I have.
TJ, I watched a zillion clips on him today. This dude, he looks like he looks like he can't read defenses. I'm dead serious. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk on him like that. He looks like he can't read a defense.
I think we'll see. I don't think Washington even gave him a decent shot, and I think he's immature too. So I think it's both of each. Yeah, throwing a guy out there in the midst of the fray is not giving a guy a shot. You put people in positions to win, and I mean, obviously Gruden didn't do that because he was fired.
TJ, I think he started like 16 games.
And should he have?
TJ, if you're the 15th pick in the draft, the number 1, TJ, the NFL. If you're a first round draft pick in the NFL nowadays, it ain't a sit and wait game like it used to be. You get in there, you play.
I'm just telling you right now. I don't think
everybody's what's the old saying? That don't get drafted in the first round. That don't take him in the first round.
That's not their decision.
TJ, when's the last quarterback you've seen drafted in the first round sit? They don't do it anymore.
Most
the franchise.
don't do that at all. You're right.
They're the franchise. And guess what? fire sharpens whatever the hell it is. Justin Herbert, Washington had way more talent than the Chargers, and Justin Herbert is nasty. So I don't want this. This dude is no good. He's not good. He's not.
The last organization I remember drafting a first rounder was probably the Chargers when they had Breeze, and they moved Breeze along and they kept Rivers. And I don't think
Breeze was a first round draft. Breeze wasn't a first round draft pick.
No, but they drafted one and they had a Hall of Fame quarterback in front of him.
And that's what, 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. I'm just telling you, if you can do that, that's great. I mean, usually those top tier talents anyway, the reason they're up there, the reason they get those high draft picks because they stink. I mean, it would be great. Wouldn't Sam Darnold, these guys benefit from sitting behind a pro for a year or two?
You can't do it these days, TJ. It's the money. You can't do it. You just can't.
Well,
because guess what? The salary cap, you have to push your team while that quarterback's under that rookie deal to see if you can win a championship and try to fill the pieces around it. You have to.
Usually, if you're getting that high of a pick, you're not winning any championship. I mean, you're not missing one piece. You're missing a bunch of stuff. I mean, who's got the number one? Where's Trevor going? Is he going to Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Is Jacksonville going to compete for a championship this year?
No, but if you give him 3 years, he's still going to get a rookie deal. You're still going to be just like Cleveland. Cleveland's got about I'd say another year or two run before they really got to pay Baker or make that decision. Mm-hmm. So you have to hit it. You have to hit that pick. If you don't hit that pick, you're screwed. And to me, he's not the guy.
Well, you're proving my point more now. So you have to do that because these first rounders, how much money do they make?
Not a ton.
What if you could get a guy that's got better than average talent at the QB position for probably nothing? They had to get him for probably nothing.
You keep harking on him being a first round draft pick just because he was drafted by by Washington as a first rounder. I don't think he was a first. He's not good. He's not. I watch him. To me, he's not good.
Where would you have drafted him?
I wouldn't have drafted him at all.
See, now that's ridiculous. To say he would go on undrafted is absolutely ridiculous.
TJ, again, would I have drafted Trubisky? Probably not.
To say he doesn't have the talent to be drafted is ridiculous.
Okay, TJ, if he's there in the 5th round, I'm taking him.
No, he's not a 5th rounder. He was the top rated QB in the draft class.
TJ, because he played for Ohio State. He played for Ohio State. The team was just beating everybody. If he was doing, TJ, put it this way, I think the kid at Pitt, Kenny Pickett, is better than Haskins right now.
You are delirious.
TJ,
he's awful.
If you put Kenny Pickett on Ohio State's team, he's put up the same numbers. Look at his numbers at Pitt.
He threw 50 TDs.
TJ,
his last year.
TJ, look at Kenny Pickett's numbers at Pitt.
Tim, if you have got to be able to throw the ball with accuracy,
TJ,
and some moxie for 50 TDs.
TJ,
he threw 50, not 20, not 10, not 30, 50.
TJ, let me ask you a question. How many TDs did Tim Tebow pass for when he's in Florida?
I don't know.
A bunch.
50?
A bunch. TJ, a bunch. A bunch.
You knew coming out of the draft, though, Tebow was not known for his accuracy.
TJ, Ohio State, it's every quarterback they've had. Cardell Jones was their 3rd string guy. He came up and tore everybody up. What's he doing right now? He's not in the league. TJ, it's Ohio State just has better players than everybody. Mm-hmm. If you surround, if you surround a shot for what they got him for. If you surround a turd around diamonds, he's going to be okay.
So what do you do then with the Steelers? They've got a great receiving core. Obviously, we could use a running game. Maybe he'll be successful. What did he have in Washington?
He had a pretty good running back this year. He had some pretty good receivers this year, TJ.
Who?
McLaren is a pretty good receiver, TJ.
The Washington line was pretty awful.
Was it, TJ? Awful enough to make our running game look stupid because that dude over there was a rookie and he could run the rock.
So how did they do? I mean, they made the playoffs at what was their record?
It was 7-9?
7-9.
How many games did Haskins start?
It wasn't many.
And guess what? I saw 7 picks this year. They didn't start winning games until Alex Smith plays.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? That tells you how bad Haskins is. A guy that has one leg.
It also tells you how bad the Redskins are.
Really?
So why wouldn't you put him out there early? Why wouldn't you have Alex Smith out there early? If you thought if the Redskins thought they could make a run early, why don't you put your best guys out there? You can tell from Haskins. I mean, you got to see if he's got any talent or not. But you could tell he's not ready.
TJ, if you drafted a guy last year to be your number one pick,
mm-hmm.
you have to you have to put him in. You can't just be like, he's not good for play.
Where did the Ravens? Where did they draft Lamar Jackson?
End of the first round.
And he sat behind Flacco for 1 year, right?
No, he did not. It lasted half a year.
Flacco got hurt, then he went in.
Yes, and he never lost a job again.
So if Flacco didn't get hurt, would we have seen Jackson?
They were calling for Jackson. I believe
that's not what I'm asking.
No, TJ,
would we have seen Jackson if Flacco didn't get hurt? Would we have seen Roethlisberger if Maddox didn't get hurt?
TJ, again, you're talking 17 years ago.
Doesn't matter. He was still sitting. I'm talking with
TJ,
Jackson. We're talking 3 years ago.
TJ, do I believe TJ? Yes, I believe.
Why did they put him in right away? So why wouldn't the Steelers go after a number one guy now and let him sit for a year behind Ben?
TJ, he's been. Let me ask you a question. Okay,
mm-hmm.
This guy sat there. If I had any quarterback in the league, anyone in the league that I wanted to sit there and I wanted to mentor a guy, be in that quarterback room, whatnot, and learn. And he did that when they benched him, would be Alex Smith. If you can't learn from Alex Smith, TJ, if you can't learn from Alex Smith.
For certain things. Are
TJ,
they're not the same kind of quarterback. Tim,
TJ,
they're not the same kind of quarterback.
Do you think Ben's going to mentor him?
So I heard that too. So do you think Ben actually mentored Mahomes? Or not Ben, excuse me, Alex Smith. Do you think Alex Smith, what did Alex Smith impart to Mahomes?
TJ, I think everything you hear from
what did he give him? What do you see when you see Mahomes play? What do you go, oh, he got that from Alex Smith?
TJ,
he may have gotten some like study and this and that stuff. I'm sorry, dude.
TJ, learning to read a defense and learning cues from different defenses, that is happening. Do you think Ben would do that with him? I do not think so.
No, Ben doesn't do it with anybody.
I've heard
which is a core issue with Ben.
I've heard it too many times from too many organizations that Alex Smith did that. I heard it from San Francisco with Kaepernick. He did it then. He did it in Kansas City. And I heard he did it in Washington. The dude's a knucklehead. I don't think he's smart enough to play quarterback, TJ. I don't. That may sound that may sound terrible. I don't think he is.
No. We'll see. I mean, but you can tailor defense. Like when I look at Jackson, what's his issue? Is his issue he can't read a defense? Is his issue he's not accurate? What's his issue?
I don't think he's that accurate. But the difference is, TJ, Lamar Jackson at least has that special thing to get him out of there with his running ability. Dwayne Haskins can't do that.
No, he doesn't have. There are very few that have that. Yeah,
he doesn't. He doesn't have it.
No, I agree.
He doesn't.
I think for the risk, I think it was worth doing it, and I think somebody else would have done it. I think probably the Patriots or somebody would have done it just to see if they could.
TJ, he had two offers: one in Carolina, one in Pittsburgh.
Well, but it's still early too. There could have been other teams too that have.
I'm just telling you. How early could it be, TJ? It's been he was cut week 16, week 15. Yeah. It ain't that early.
Well, I get it. Well, I mean, look at all the coaching moves that we've already made, and that a lot of teams they wait till even before that, because some of these guys want to interview these guys that are in the playoffs right now, so they won't make any final decisions. You can't interview anybody to the playoffs. If they're playing, you can't interview them until they're done.
Yes,
right?
You can. Yes, you can.
You can't. You telling me right now they're going to interview like the offensive coordinator from the Chiefs?
He has been interviewed.
Or one of those guys.
He has interviewed. He has interviewed. He's interviewed with the Texans. He's interviewed with a couple different teams. He has interviewed, TJ.
Oh, they must have changed that. Before you weren't allowed to until the season.
Oh, no, you can. You can.
I'll tell you what, if I was the head coach there, I'd say, no, not till you're done, buddy. That's ridiculous. Well, you're on a playoff run for a Super Bowl. You're going to focus on your job now.
Is what it
right?
is.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do, though?
It's an interview. It may take 2 hours for an interview to do.
Yeah, for an offensive coordinator position, you think it's just a 2-hour thing. If it's 2 hours, where are you going to find 2 hours in the middle of your playoff run to go somewhere and interview?
I don't know, TJ.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
It's a Zoom. They're doing interviews over the Zoom. They're not even bringing
it does not matter. Your focus needs to be 100% on the games in front of you. I can understand if you're knocked out of the playoffs, If I was a head coach, I'd say, nope, sorry. And they have to actually get permission, if I'm correct, from the coach to get the interviews
if you're going from
the organization.
If you're going from coordinator to coordinator, if you're going up a position, coordinator to head coach, you don't need permission to do that.
I thought the organization had to give you permission.
No.
To
not if you're going, TJ. Not if you're going up from like the guy in Bieniemy. He's had head coaching stuff already. I don't think you have to ask permission if you're going from assistant to head coach. If it's going from assistant to assistant,
I thought that always went through. The organization.
I'm almost positive. I don't believe so. Well, if it's going from position to position, you have to. Like the Dolphins ask permission to interview Canada.
For what, the offense coordinator position?
I guess. I don't know.
It'd have to be, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it'd have to be. Well, I can understand if your season's over doing that, but I don't understand it in the middle of the playoff run.
TJ, if you're a head coach, you're not going to do that. If you're Andy Reid, you're not going to do that. You're going to say, "Hey, Eric Bieniemy, you got to sit here and wait and not have your opportunity to be a head coach somewhere." You know what I would tell? You know what I would tell my boss? Go pound salt.
I'm sorry. It's at that point, you're part of the organization. You signed a contract. You fulfill your contract and you win a Super Bowl. It's very simple to me.
TJ, I'm sorry. If you can't
just like any player,
if you can't believe it, your coordinator can't do a 2-hour meeting during the week for a head coaching position they've been dreaming about since they were little kids, you're nuts.
If he's worth it, they'll wait.
No, TJ, you can't do it in the NFL, dude. You just can't.
Why not? So let's say five teams want to go and interview your offense coordinator, and it's 2 hours apiece. That's 10 hours. Sorry, I couldn't do the game plan. I was interviewing for next year. That's absolutely ridiculous, Tim. There's no way. There's no way. That's absolutely ridiculous. So I think Haskins, it's low risk, high reward if it works out. Will it work out? I'm not confident it will, but give it a shot. I don't know. I'm not worried about the poison part of it, because if people are still not able to be together, then it's not like Blunt and Bell in a car with the windows up where they're in there doing things they shouldn't be doing. Right?
I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me with this dude. All he does is go to strip clubs. TJ, who goes to a strip club directly after a game? You throw like 5 interceptions in and sits there with no mask on.
Who goes to a nightclub and dances the night away when he couldn't finish the game because he hurt his ankle, and you're a tight end at New England? Gronk did the same thing, dude. After a crushing loss, he's dancing the night away. Don't you remember that?
TJ, I get that, but guess what? This dude did it 1,000 times.
He's a kid, and I hope he figures it out. If he doesn't, he's not going to be in the league.
TJ,
but if he does, it could be a steal.
But that tells me it's like the whole first round thing. How do you miss that bad on character?
Some of these teams, I don't even think they even look at character. They look.
I'm beginning to think the Pittsburgh Steelers don't either.
I don't think that's true. I think
they have brought in some straight knuckleheads since the Tomlin era has been here.
I think every team does, Tim. Every team brings in guys that have questionable character. They do.
Not like TJ, not like it has with the Tomlin era. It hasn't.
I mean, you don't know who somebody's going to be. I mean, you look at the Ravens. They had their incident with Rice, right? You look at the Chiefs. They had their incident with Hunt, and then Hunt goes right to Cleveland. Should Hunt be out of the league? Hill had some issues, right? Should he be out of the league? I think there's a line there, and they got to figure out what that line looks like. Some of these guys, Brown's still doing his thing now. Dear Lord.
But here's the thing that's irritating as heck, TJ. Tomlin let that go not for like a year or two. He let it go for 7, 8, 9 years, TJ.
I don't think he let it go. I think he tried his best to manage it. I think
you can't. But TJ, you did that, and you did the same thing with Bell. You let it go for years, and you just didn't cut it right then and there. At least the Chiefs, they cut it there. The Ravens, they cut it there. You just let it go. I'm sorry. You just can't do that. I hate this. That's not what the city stands for. That's not your reflection of your city. I don't give a damn It may sound the stupidest thing in the world, but that's what you are. And that's not what Pittsburgh's about. He just never has been. And you just let it go.
But they did let them go. They're done. They left.
TJ, they let them go when it became unbearable. You can't let it go for years. You just can't.
I mean, here's the thing. I think this is Pittsburgh. And I think it's just, this is their thing. I mean, I hate to say this, but a case could be made about that with Ben as well. Right.
And I think they were I think they were very close to trading him. But then again, but after that all calmed down.
And Ben is not a Tomlin guy.
But after that all calmed down, TJ, Ben didn't act like a knucklehead again.
I agree. And then
Brown,
when you look
Brown and Bell did that consistently, and it never stopped.
Well, so look at them now. Now again, Bell did his crud at the Jets. I don't think Bell was that much of a talent. I know we talked about possibly bringing him back. He can't even get on the field hardly now with Kansas City. He's just not doesn't have the talent. Not there. Maybe he's older. I don't know what the deal is. And we know this. Brady has got this special bond with Brown. I don't know why. If Brady's not down there, I mean, it's almost like he's adopted him, and I don't understand that at all. I just don't.
I don't know.
So maybe he's figuring it out, but I know this. He couldn't figure it out with us. He couldn't figure it out with the Raiders. He couldn't figure it out with the Patriots. These are all the teams that he's blown through, but now he's at Tampa Bay again. I think the Steelers, they cut bait. Now, I don't think we've gotten to that point yet with Juju or with Claypool, but it could go that way. You think they get rid of Juju this year because of it?
I wouldn't bring him back.
I mean, we may not be able to afford to bring him back because some team's going to give him a stupid amount of money.
I wouldn't bring him back.
And of all the receivers we have too, I mean, I don't see why. I think Washington could fill his role easily.
You're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You draft wide receivers like just go draft a receiver. He is.
I think
he's a good. Juju is a good third down receiver.
He is.
He doesn't want to play the slot. Go, TJ. He's not worth. He's going to make probably 16, 17 million. He isn't worth 10.
I agree.
So no, he's not worth the headache, TJ, either. Go, bye. I
agree. No, I think this year, the Steelers need to invest in a running back. They need to invest in some linemen, and they're going to grab a probably a linebacker somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where they go. I think you dump the tank. You find, you get a chance to. I tell you what, I am super impressed with Harris still. You can get a talent like him. I think you get him. We have our stable of running backs is just subpar.
You have to draft a running back, but you have to draft the lineman first. You have to get you can get a good running back. There's a running back there's 3 running backs you can get in the second round that are going to be good. Kid from Clemson, kid from Ohio State, kid from Alabama. Either one of those 3 I'd be fine with. You can get them in the second round. Great. TJ, you have to I know that they're cash strapped, but you got to make a move somehow, some way. You're going to be losing guys on defense. To me, the only way to shore up a suspect secondary, the Texans are going to cut. I'm going to keep harking back on it. The Texans are going to cut TJ Watt or JJ. I don't see why they can't give him a 2-year, $8 million a year contract. You can make that very cap friendly. You know as well as I do. You could probably get out of it, cut it out. If you shore up that defensive line and you put him on that defensive line, you're not going to have to worry about your secondary pieces. You can maybe go pay him and maybe pay Hilton or pay Sutton. You can. I would even be okay of letting Hayden go. You can put another corner out there. The young kid that they had start at the end of the year wasn't that bad. Not Lane, but the other kid wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. They're not going to cover for that long if you have that type of defensive line.
I agree.
But will they make that move? No. They'll go sign some guy named, say, Marsh instead of bringing in somebody they could actually use later on in the damn year.
Well, you never know. I mean, they do have some aces in the hole coming back. I mean, you got Bush and these guys coming back too. That'll help. I mean, it's not defensive line help, but they could be guys. I think though, if they're going to be committed to the run, they got to get a running back. They just have to. I mean,
you have to get you
Connor's
have to
the feel-good story.
but you have to get the horses up front. You have to have the horses up front.
I get that, but I think that's part of the equation, though. I watched our guys run this year. Our running backs. You know what? I was high on Snell to start. I didn't see enough in him. I was watching. What game was I watching? And their running backs, they looked like animals. I mean, they're running hard. They're running tough. Gosh, who was it? They ended up winning.
Green
Serious
Bay?
running attack. Yeah, maybe it was Green Bay. No, I don't think it was Green Bay. It might have been. Might have been Tampa, actually. I don't know. I got to. They had a couple running backs. I like Fournette, or I wish we would have picked him up. He would have been a great pickup from the Jags. But we need a running back because and I think even the guy they drafted this year, there's a chance he could break it all. I need to see something. They need a workhorse if they're going to get this thing done. And again, I'm with you. They got to pick up some linemen. I do like some of the young guys they had this year. I mean, obviously you got to fill a hole with Villanueva. He's done. He's gone. But and then
they're gonna bring back Banner. They'll give him a 1-year show to me type of deal. He likes it here. They got to make decisions, see if you can move him over to Villanueva spot, see if you can play left tackle because you have Chooks on their right. You bring Dotson in. You still have Pouncey. You still have DeCastro. Dotson's going to be fantastic. I'm cool. He's going to be stalwart on that line for the next 10 years. Or there's 3 or 4 tackles. They're going to be really good in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
You take one in the first round.
I think if they get a chance, we'll see. We'll see who they land. I'll tell you what, I was not impressed with Pouncey this year. Pouncey looked like he was on roller skates half the year. I think, he struggled. And then, I mean, even and I know you harp on little things, but you're in the first playoff game and you chuck the ball 5 foot over, got 6'5".
But TJ, let's be real. If Ben's coming back, Pouncey's coming back.
I understand that. I'm just telling you. Yeah, I'm just telling you.
You can't draft a guy that's going to sit for a year. You can't. Not in the first round. Yeah, you cannot. Not on this team next year. But here's the thing. All that being said, if Ben, this is even why more I kind of the decision of I don't even know if I want Ben to come back. Look at their schedule next year, TJ. It is brutal. I mean,
it is
brutal. I think if Ben plays above his head, I think they may win 8 games next year. I mean, the teams you got to go against, you got to play the Chiefs. You got to play
the Bills.
The Bills. AFC North is going to be good again next year.
Yeah,
I believe you're playing the Packers.
You are, yeah. It's a brutal.
You're playing, the NFC North teams. I think I don't know what AFC teams. I want to say you're playing the
AFC West. I think, isn't it?
The West. Mm-hmm. So I mean, their schedule's going to.
The only good thing about that is, the AFC North playing basically the same teams, which is good for us.
Yeah, but you're playing.
They got to go to Kansas City. They got to go to all those places too.
Then there's other first place teams we have to be playing, because it's not just. There's other good teams we have to be playing besides that. I want to say. I got to look at their schedule, because I looked at their schedule.
I did.
Their schedule. Their schedule is brutal, dude. It's brutal.
I didn't. Again, I don't think it's Ben's arm that the issue. I think it's his legs. I think they did that quick throwing thing because I just don't think he can move around. And again, I think they need to be prepared for. Let's just be real. He takes 1 or 2 shots to his legs, he's done. I mean, not like for a few weeks. He'll probably be done. You see him hobbling around. So then is that Mason coming off the bench?
If I got to see Dwayne Haskins come in the game,
I don't think he's the number 2 guy. I think it's Mason if he's here. They got to decide, are they going to keep Mason or Dobbs? They can't let one of those guys go. Haskins is
Dobbs.
Not.
Dobbs isn't on a contract.
He's not, is he?
No.
Dobbs is a free agent, and so is Mason. I know. So they got to decide. They're going
to No. Mason has another. This is Mason's last year.
Oh, then that's fine. Then they're fine. It'll be Mason right now is a better quarterback than Haskins. He is, don't you think?
Good God, dude, that's like saying
he is though.
Oh, I know. But
So I think Haskins will have the opportunity to show that he's better or not. If he's great, so I think he's really competing with Dobbs. That you're bringing in a guy that's competing with Dobbs, not with Mason.
again, Dobbs isn't going to be here.
I know. He's
So
replacing Dobbs, I guess is what I'm saying. He's not replacing Mason.
I mean, dude,
Mason's
yeah.
the guy, dude. He's the guy. If Ben goes down, Mason is the guy. You're not seeing Haskins unless he comes out and something shifts and clicks in him and he's lights out. I don't see that yet. I think he's too raw. Could he do that? Maybe, but I don't know. You know, I still think if I were them, if they could, again, what's screwing all this up is they don't have any cap space. And then did you see where they set the cap this year?
Is it 180?
Because of the loss of revenue from the COVID stuff, the cap is lower than they expected it to be.
Thanks, Governor Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, so now, but I mean, here's the beauty. Oh, they're all in the same boat. So all these guys. And again, this could work for the Steelers because some of these guys are not going to get the big money that they thought they were going to get because there is no big money. You know, like Bud and these guys. What are they going to make now when they know that the cap is so low? Who's going to put money and invest money into dude that could? They're hoping he's the same that he was before.
I get what you're saying, but a lot of teams aren't 30 million over the cap right now.
But there are, I mean, at least half the league is cap tight. And then the half the league that wasn't cap tight before, because of the lower cap, there's not as much room as they thought that they had. So that really works in the benefit, I think, of the teams that already have the players.
That's the dumbest thing I've heard in my life, TJ.
What are you talking about?
TJ, we're $30 million over the cap. If we're saying, hey, if the numbers are going to shrink back down, you can't pay as much, a team's still going to be able to give $8 million instead of the Steelers $4 million, even though they're just going to get paid a little bit.
With them. Yeah, but here's the deal with the cap.
So teams aren't going to be like, yeah, players are going to be like, yeah, don't worry, Steelers, we'll take that $4 million instead of that $8 million, even though it's no. Let's
say this. Let's say that Juju thinks in his head he's worth 16, and let's say that Juju gets out there and the market for him because the cap is lower is closer to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the Steelers say, we'll give you 9 if you stay. Does he leave? You create 10? Yeah.
There's a big
is $1 million worth you leaving?
There's a big difference between $1 million and maybe $4 or $5 million. I don't think the Steelers are going to be. I don't think the Steelers are going to be close within $1 million. We know this about the whole Bell debacle. If Bell would have stayed at Pittsburgh, he would have made more money than he made at the Jets, right? Yeah.
So what did he do? He overestimated what he thought he was worth.
Mm-hmm. And
at that point, he burned the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hold out because I'm going to get all this money. He got out there. Did he get all the money he thought he was going to get?
He got a little bit less than what he was getting in Pittsburgh.
So let me ask you a question. Was his success in Pittsburgh all resting on because he was this talented guy, or was part of it also due to the system and the people that were around him? Is he as much of a juggernaut as he was if Brown is not right next to him, if Brown isn't the threat that he is? Sometimes it's the chemistry of the organization.
To a point, but I thought, to me, it's as good as your quarterback is.
Is Ben the quarterback juggernaut that he is now without a guy like Antonio Brown?
Yes, because Ben's proved it in the past.
I mean, come on, though, man. Does Ben have the numbers that he has without Brown?
TJ, let's look how many receivers.
He's not Brady, dude. Who are Brady's highest receivers?
TJ, I understand, TJ, but what I'm saying is, can you name a receiver that Ben didn't really make good?
No, you need to have a franchise quarterback. But let me ask you a question.
Let's just paint this picture, TJ. He got Mike Wallace paid.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Wallace left Pittsburgh. He stunk. Emmanuel Sanders. Ben got him paid. Ben got him paid. Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes. Santonio Holmes was terrible. Yeah.
He was
after he left.
You're proving
he was with the Jets. He wasn't very good.
But you're proving my point, TJ.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger was the combinator in all these. TJ, do you think Juju would be this good if he wasn't with Ben?
It depends on where he's at. TJ, if he's with a scrub quarterback, no. If he's with a decent quarterback, like say if he's with the Bills, yeah, probably.
If you're that great of a quarterback, or if you're that great of a receiver, really shouldn't matter who your quarter. I mean, it's get to a point no matter your quarterback is, but not that much if you're a great receiver. Juju's not a great receiver.
Well, but Tim, who's going to throw you the ball?
Justin Jefferson up in Minnesota
Hmm?
has Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, and that dude's a monster. Kirk Cousins stinks.
Well, but Kirk Cousins is salvageable. I mean, you're talking about a guy that at least can throw the ball a little bit. Dude, if you're a receiver, you don't have somebody throwing you the ball, you're not going to be successful. You got to have somebody that can throw you the ball. Tell me one great receiver that doesn't have somebody throwing him the ball that's at least halfway decent. Just name one.
A great receiver?
Yeah.
That doesn't have anybody throwing him the ball. That's
a halfway decent quarterback throwing him the ball. You can't be a great receiver without having somebody chucking you the ball. You can't. Let me ask you a question. Let's say Brady had Brown for 10 years. Where would they be?
I don't know, man.
I think, again, it's the whole debate like with coaches and QBs. Who makes the team, the QB or the coach? Yes, they both bring something to the table. I think Ben has done a remarkable job with receivers that he's had. I agree with you. I mean, even when he had Holmes, he did great with Santonio Holmes, but Santonio Holmes was great. But there's part of that's the system. I mean, I even think of like a guy like Neil O'Donnell. He takes the Steelers to the Super Bowl, and then he goes to the Jets the next year, and he's terrible.
So you mean to tell me if you think Ben in his prime goes to another organization, he's not great?
I think it depends on the organization. If he goes to, let's say, I don't know, Cleveland, where he doesn't have anybody around him, he's running for his life. How successful is he? I mean, if you don't give him the weapons.
TJ, Ben ran for his life here and made a lot of that stuff happen. His lines were bad here.
Yeah, early on, but they drafted well for Ben. He had good running attacks. He cut his teeth on Jerome Bettis next to him. He had guys like Hines Ward, right? He had guys like Santonio Holmes. He had guys like Willie Parker. He had a stable system that was around him. And what were the Steelers committed to doing? Something like that the Green Bay Packers aren't committed to doing with with Aaron Rodgers. They put talent around him. Imagine if Green Bay committed, they've got some receivers now this year. Imagine if all these years they said, we're going to go and get you 3 and 4 stud receivers and a great running game. Where would they be? Where would he be? TJ, how many titles would he have?
I get what you're saying, but he has had Devontae Adams is pretty damn good, dude.
He is. So
he's probably to me, he's probably the top 3 best receivers in the league. What
would he do with our receiving core?
Probably pretty damn good.
I think this
TJ,
Steelers
he's
took
pretty
care of Ben
TJ,
too.
He's pretty damn good with that receiving corps in Green Bay right now.
He is right now. He is now again, and they cut through stuff.
But you're proving my point, TJ. The quarterback makes do I think Brown would have been successful if he's out there with Baker throwing him the ball? No. To prove my point is he had Mason throwing the ball for a year, and he didn't do diddly poo.
I agree.
Yeah. Ben has made these receivers. He has.
Any great receiver has to have a great quarterback. You don't have a great receiver without a great quarterback. You don't. That's my point. You don't. Right? But understand this. They also bring something to the table. I mean, case in point, like Deontay, I think is going to be fantastic. Catch the ball. Ebron, catch the ball. Ben can't throw it and catch it. You got to bring something to the table. That's why I even thought when they let Bell go, everybody was all worried. I think one of the reasons Bell was great was because of Brown. I think one of the reasons Juju had such a great rookie season was because of Brown. Brown attracted so much attention. The other guys had room to operate. When you took Brown out of the equation, how did Juju do? You're the focus now, Juju. It's all on you. Brown is special. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And Ben can always chuck the ball to Brown 10, 15 yards. And every time Brown touched the ball, he could just take it to the house. You never knew what he was going to do. Now, Deontay's got flashes of that. But how many receivers in the league, other than like Tyreek Hill and these guys, have that ability? Why do you think Brady wants? Why is he staying in Brady's house? Is it just for the good of his fellow man that he wants to see this guy?
TJ, but here's my thing. I get what you're saying, but Brady has 2 other receivers that are actually probably better than Brown right now.
I agree.
Mike Evans is a monster.
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. So why even bring Brown in? Remember when they brought Brown in? What did they say? This kid, there's too much downside on this, not enough upside. What if he messes up the chemistry? Remember all that?
Mhm.
And what did Brady do? You're staying in my house. I don't, which makes me nervous. I don't want him staying near my wife and my children, but hey, that is what it is. Hey, I'm gonna make. There's something in him. Brady wanted him in New England, and Brady wants him now because he sees something in him that he thinks, that'll get him another Super Bowl. All I'm saying is this: you need both. And I'm just saying this too. When you look at the Steelers, I love Ben with all my heart. I think you have to honor him and let him ride out the way he wants to ride out. But I'm with you. I think next year when you look at the schedule and you look at Ben's getting another year older, unless he does something with his legs, I'm not worried about his arm now. I'm worried about his legs. We have got to move away from an offense where he throws the ball 68 times.
I agree. You can't. I don't know. You can't
so
rejuvenate.
get a stud running back. Actually, you know what they need to do? They need to get two. I'm about done with Benny Snell, and and then load up your line and say, guys,
why don't you go give Mark Ingram a low contract and bring him into backup?
You could bring him in for a low contract, but he was third string at the Ravens.
I don't care. He's better than anybody we got in Steelers.
I'm saying you could probably get somebody that's got a little bit more gas in the tank than he's like 31 too. You can get somebody that's got a little more gas in the tank than him. They're flopping around the league, and I would draft a stud running back. I would just draft a stud.
Are we doing a Yinzer mailbag?
We have to. I mean, dude, this is going to be a 3-hour podcast, but that's okay. What does everybody else? We had nothing else to do. No. So let's open the Yinzer mailbag. Again, what's the Yinzer mailbag? Is when you, the fans, you get me fired up tonight, Tim. I love this. People usually don't see me fired up.
Well, TJ,
I'm the calm one.
Well, you're blind because
I'm
again,
not blind. I got
again.
So what the Yinzer mailbag is?
You're over there in Rooney Way like this.
No, I think it's upside. We'll see what happens. Is he the guy? I don't know if he's the guy, but we'll see. I know we're not going to get anybody else right now. So if you got any questions for the Yinzer Bros, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com, and we'll answer all your questions as quick as we can. We've got some. The first one's from Marky Mush. He says, have either of you watched any playoff football since the crash and burn of the mighty Steelers? Now, first of Mark, you shut your face. That's all I got to say about that.
You get 100%
I swore off
face.
Football, and I said I'm going to switch to hockey, and then the Penguins got their heads kicked in by the Flyers 2 games in a row.
But I'm beginning to think it may be you at some point though too, because I talked to you the night that they were getting their heads pounded in by Washington, and they came back and won. You're like, I'm turning the game off and I'm going to sleep. I go, maybe it's you.
It might be. You might be right. I was. Jari looks awful, but that's another Yinzer Brothers podcast. I have watched football. I say I'm not going to, but I peek in. I do. What about you, Tim?
It hasn't been a high priority in my house, but I have sneaked in, and I'm usually I'm turning into like a more of a second half type of watcher. Yeah. I'll turn on halftime. I'll kind of say, okay, let's. I did watch that Cleveland game because again, that was like my Super Bowl. They had to lose. If they would have won that game, I may be on suicide watch right now.
Yeah, I think you stay. So who do you want to see go the rest of the way?
At this point, like I said, I think their fans would be insufferable, but Buffalo it'd be fun to kind of see those. They make whatever. Turn that place on fire if they do win it. But
they got nothing. They have absolutely nothing.
I would like to see.
Let's give something.
I mean, it would be funny to see a Buffalo. I hate to say it, Tampa
Buffalo
championship,
Tampa,
just to see knowing Buffalo try to slay that dragon, and if Brady did win another one, having to see I want to see those faces, the Buffalo fans, because those would be the same faces that I've had for the past 15 years going against Brady.
Yeah.
Just to be like that face. I'd be like, I've seen this. Teacher put it this way. I was texting Mush and I go, he was going on about Green Bay. I was like, and this is after Green Bay won. Tampa hasn't played yet. I'm going, I think Tampa's going to go to the Super Bowl. The more I talk about you, I'm like, I think they're going to go. And he's like, I'm like, I just go, Mark, I've seen this movie before. I've lived this movie before.
Yeah.
I go, and I have a feeling this movie is going to end with. It's going to end with Buffalo blood and heartbreak somewhere in this movie. I've seen this. I've lived this movie. I have lived this movie.
Tampa's got to go through Lambeau. They got to get it done through Lambeau. So we'll see what happens.
I just watching that defense play against New Orleans. I know. I mean, Drew Brees looked like a shadow puppet.
He looked old.
He looked bad. But here's the thing: if you watch that game, the same offense New Orleans was running was the same offense the Steelers are running. But Brees has enough sense to say, "I'm done." Not big Cowboy Ben.
No,
he's coming back. Oh,
who knows?
That quarterback room is going to be. You got Ben. You got stupid face. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call Haskins by his name because he's not. To me, his name is quarterback 1. That's it. QB1.
Do you remember Parcells? He made him put tape on their helmets, and it didn't matter who. He said if they were first round, he just put rookie. That's all he had on there. You miss guys like that.
Haskins is QB1 to me. That's it. Stupid face. You got Ben, stupid face, and QB1.
It's a thin room. Who was more at fault in the 11-0 team losing the last 5 out of the 6 games and exiting the early playoffs? Who do you put the blame on for that?
Who do I put the blame on for that?
You put on Tomlin for that? Is that all Tomlin?
Yes. That's his house. It collapsed. TJ, you have to put on Tomlin because it's not like the first time this has happened like a zillion years. It's happened. But I'm serious. I mean, the year Bennett, the year the Brown explosion, they lost the last like 4 or 5. It's happened like every year. Besides, the year before was like kind of an anomaly because Ben was hurt, but it's happened the years before that all the time. They just fizzle off. Who else? I can't put it on anybody, but the standard is a standard.
Mm-hmm. My thought on this. And again, I think as they tailed, I think the offense, I think they figured out our offense and they figured out that something was wrong with Ben. And then I know that you and I debate this. I know he threw for 500 yards in the last game, but Ben, you cannot turn the ball over that many times. You just can't.
And I get it for this year, and I would say that for this year. But I'm looking back on years past. It's happened multiple times. Yeah. So there's only one person you can point that at. It's your head coach. What? He should have figured this out. I mean, it happened against Jacksonville when you got all the talent. You got your doors blown off. And I think they lost like 4 games going to the playoffs that year.
They did.
The year before, I think it did the same thing. Your coach got to figure that out. Why is your team failing at the end of the year?
Do you know what part of the team usually collapses at the end of the year too? It's usually the defense.
I know. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And your head coach is a defensive coach. It's a problem.
I get it.
I mean, I watch a couple plays. So you got me thinking about that game again for. Do you realize he ran the Derek Watt 1-yard plunge? They didn't even change or window dress it up. They ran it once for a first down, and he came back and he ran the same. He didn't even put a variation to it. Ran the same damn play, and he got stuffed.
I know. He's just terrible. Here's another one. It says if Ben retires having won 2 Super Bowls, he'd be the same as Eli. Is that an underachievement for Ben?
Yeah. With the teams that he's had, yeah.
Well,
I don't know if I put that on Ben or if I put that on Coach T.
Well, so let me ask you a question. When you talk about elite quarterbacks, obviously you got Brady, you put him off to the side. What other elite quarterbacks in this era have gotten 2?
Peyton.
He got one with Indy and one with the Broncos.
Mm-hmm. Did he get 2 with Denver? Did he get 2 with Denver?
Just one. Yeah. So was he? He's at the same as his brother. Would you consider his career underachieving with him just getting 2?
Peyton's. Yeah. I can't because there's players, and I get he won he only won 2 titles, but there's players that what's the word I'm looking for? Just change the game in general. Peyton changed the way the quarterback game was played. There's guys that just do that, like Marino. Marino didn't win titles, but he changed the way the quarterback position was played.
He did.
Montana, won the titles, changed the way the quarterback position was played. As Patrick Mahomes is changing the way the quarterback game is played. So do I say it's underachieving? Winning titles, probably yes, because he's some great teams. But Peyton's, to me, even though he didn't win the titles, many titles I think he should have won, he changed the way the game. So he is, to me, he's on a pedestal in the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks of all time.
So what about Aaron Rodgers? I mean, you got to look at guys like, Aaron has had league MVPs. Peyton has had league MVPs. I don't think Ben's had any league MVP, has he?
No.
So, I mean, would you consider Aaron Rodgers? He's got what? Does he have 2 or 1?
He has 1. He is 1. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Do I think he's an all-time great? I mean, top 10, yeah. I mean, but yeah, he's underachieved. You're right. He's underachieved. So he wins a title this year. He's on a pedestal with the top 5 greats.
So he'll have 2 like Ben. So I mean, Ben's been to 3. He's got 2. So I don't know if I'd put him in the underachiever category. I think he's about where everybody else is at except for Brady.
To me, it's tough because Ben had like all world defenses. Aaron never had that.
No.
Peyton really never had that until he got to Denver.
But he had great offenses though. I mean, you had like Dwight Freeney and all these guys.
He did, but like Aaron's, he's the underlier that he hasn't really had like great defenses, and he hasn't had really like great offense. Like ridiculous offenses.
I agree.
Which is, to me, is crazy. Like, you can't put those pieces together in Green Bay. Just mind-boggling to me.
They never put the pieces around him. They never put the pieces around him.
But I mean, like I said, let me flip that script. If you take Aaron Rodgers and put him on the Steelers for the past 17 years, how many titles do you think they win?
I think they win 4.
Because to me, the one quarterback that could go toe-to-toe for in the AFC with Mr. Brady would be
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. And if you give him a defense like the Steelers had, I think he wins.
I agree.
TJ, I think he wins maybe more than 4.
Yeah. I think if you win 4 in your generation, that's spectacular. He may go more. I don't know.
Because
but
TJ,
I think
the 05 team, if he's leading, it's not even close. Yeah. The 08 team, not even close. They win the championship against the Packers in 10. If he's on the opposite side with Ben, they just do. And some of those teams with Bell and Brown, you win a title.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you take Aaron Rodgers out of the mix and you put in any other quarterback in that era, I don't know if I'd consider him underachieving. I think he's about where he needs to be. I mean, when you put him in the light of Aaron Rodgers, let's say Aaron Rodgers doesn't get another title. He's got 1 ring. And again, Eli's got the 2, but let's just be real. They were very fluky. They win these games. Just they weren't like juggernaut stuff. And really up to the end, even with Peyton, he comes back from that surgery and he goes back to Denver. He was a shell of the quarterback that he was before.
The first year, the first year he was with Denver. He set. I mean, he threw like 55 touchdowns or something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah, but it was, you could tell they did that whole. He wasn't chucking the ball, and he was never a dude that was chucking the ball 70 yards down the field anyway. Yeah. But
that's why I put him in a different. That's why I put him in a different kind of stretcher, because he was the one quarterback that you could probably name that could just pummel you with his brains.
Oh, he could. He's brilliant. Omaha. He was brilliant.
I mean.
Says, is it time for Tomlin to go? Does he still have the support of Steeler Nation? I'll tell you what, I think Steeler Nation is pretty divided on Tomlin right now.
He's on the hot seat. Next year, he'll be on the hot seat. He will be.
I think you're right.
His seat will be scorching hot next year.
I think next year, you're right. We'll see what happens with him. I don't know. If Ben retires, having one, we already read that one. What are your thoughts about Haskins? We talked about that already.
Good God, man. What's my thoughts
on
Haskins?
Your Steel? Who is your Steeler MVP of the year? The offensive MVP and the defensive MVP. Who is your offensive MVP?
Me? Offensive MVP? I mean, Ben. Can you imagine how bad they would have sucked if they didn't have Ben?
Yeah, if Mason was the guy, that's true.
Who else?
I'm going to say offensive MVP, Deontay Johnson.
He just had too many drops. He had too many drops, dude. TJ, he was third in the league in drops. You can't be MVP in the team and you're third in the league in drops.
I get it. I just
Can't do it.
I think he was there in critical times, and I think he gives them a threat that. But you could say the same thing for Chase Claypool. He's definitely the rookie. He's the rookie MVP. Who's the defensive MVP? Should be easy peasy, right?
34. Do we have to ask that question? Who's the defensive MVP? He could be. It's whatever. Mush.
I agree.
Get out of here.
What are your thoughts about the Steelers getting J.J. Watt?
I think I'm the only person who has made that take, and I'm shocked nobody's actually been like, it actually kind of makes sense. To me, it does. It just makes too much sense.
So where do you put him in the rotation? Do you put him where you put him on the nose? Do you take him out of? Who do you take down?
TJ,
Cam or Tuitt or?
We don't take any amount. I think you'd be flexible with all three of them.
You don't. I mean, he's too big to put him on the end.
You can't put him in the end. You're not putting him in. You're putting him in one of those three positions, but you can rotate. Hell, TJ, do you ever think about this? I mean, I see New England do it all the damn time. Why do you have to stay in the three? Seriously, New England if you watch their defenses or other teams' defenses, they're hybrids between 3-4s and 4-3s.
Yeah.
Why can't you do that? Huh?
No, you can. You're right. I agree with you.
But to me, you rotate those three guys. I mean, I think Tuitt could hold up in the nose. He's big enough too. I think JJ can hold up. JJ's a big dude. He could hold up in the nose. You rotate those three guys. You can't double everybody. You're gonna have to double JJ, or you have to double TJ. Who do you double in the middle? You double Cam. Okay, on the outside, you're gonna leave. Say you do have TJ at the nose. You leave him one-on-one with a center. I don't give it. He's gonna kill him. You leave Tuitt one-on-one. He should kill the person he's playing against.
Mm-hmm.
You double TJ, you double JJ. You leave Cam and you leave Tuitt one-on-one with their guys. Because again, the staple is going to be TJ, and that's not getting doubled. They're going to murder who they're playing, and you're not even thinking about Highsmith on the outside, which to me, you have that pieces right there. You don't got to worry about your back end that much because they're not going to have to cover that long.
You're right. That you want to make your D-backs look great, have a great pass rush.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what more you bring Alu back on a minor deal, which he's not going to get paid a bunch. You could probably bring back from vet minimum. You have those four guys rotating in and out.
It's a big deal.
Are you serious? I mean, that's going to be.
And that's a good situation for JJ too, because I mean he's losing steam. He's getting older.
I would rather do that than even remotely think about bringing Bud back.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to tell me I could pay Bud $8 million or I could pay JJ $8 million, I'm paying JJ $8 million because I think the less pressure you got to do blitzing, you bring that dude in. He's good against the run. You bring him in.
I think it depends on how long we're talking about for deals.
2 years.
Yeah.
A 2-year deal.
Well, I think if you got him for a 2-year deal, but you can get Bud for a 5-year deal or something like that.
You're not getting Bud for 5 years. If you're bringing Bud back, it's going to be for a 1-year show me deal.
Yeah. I mean, and that is something, he's got a bad knee. So let's see how that looks. I'm anxious to see what happens when we get Bush back. Losing Bush was huge.
It was huge. It was huge. But you can imagine that. It's like you're doubling those guys. You can't get the Bush. He's going to run free.
Yeah, you're right.
To me, it makes too much sense. It just does. Because you can't tell me.
He wants out of Houston.
You can't. Everybody wants out of Houston. You can't tell me it doesn't make sense. The only other place I can see him going is Green Bay. But their defense is trash up there. I mean, it's not great. To me, it's like, I don't know. It just makes too much sense. Your brothers are here. But the Steelers will do something like screwed up, and they'll get rid of the fullback one. They'll cut him, and everybody will be pissed off.
Has there ever been a team that's had 3 brothers on the same team?
No. You know why? Because usually the other 2 brothers suck, like the Steelers and the 2.
Oh, jeez.
They bring that dude back. Oh.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the Yinzer mailbag tonight. Again, if you get any questions, you can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. If you're lucky
4-hour
enough, we'll get on the
podcast.
show. This is a long one. This is a really long one. Tim, I think we've covered everything. Is there anything else you think we need to add for the Yinzer Brothers podcast?
I mean, no. I watched the Pirates dismantle more players from their team. They're picking up guys I don't even know who the hell they are.
Pirates are terrible.
They're bad.
They traded Musgrove away too.
Yeah,
you see that? Back to the Padres.
TJ, they have a $40 million payroll. Think
That's
about
crazy.
That. A 40 million. TJ, Ben makes more money than the whole entire Pittsburgh Pirates. Than all of them.
But you know what? Baseball should put a stop to that.
They won't. You know why?
Because with collective bargaining, they're going to make double that back. They should say, no, sorry, sell the team to somebody that's going to actually put money into them.
Seriously, Ben makes more than that whole entire payroll. Ben!
That's just ridiculous to me. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why, too, they don't go to instead of the collective bargaining, they go to a salary cap system like they do for football, or at least you have some at least you have some parity in the league. Baseball's broken.
Just a jerks. You get that?
Yeah, it's just baseball's broken.
I mean, Pens are good. Again, I don't worry about.
I'll tell you what, man, they better find a goalie. Holy crap! Right now, DeSmith is our shining light, and he scares the crap out of me.
TJ. Mark my words, a Tristan Jarl will be just fine.
I hope. I'll tell you what, it's not.
TJ,
getting rid of Murray is not looking too good right now.
TJ, I like this when the Pens start out like this. This just tells me around. I would say around, what is it? We're in around May. That's when they'll go on. They're big, and they'll heat up just in time for the playoffs. Don't worry about the Pens. Don't worry about the Pens.
It's a condensed season. It's 58 games this year.
TJ. I've seen enough of my past. Even the games they lost. I've seen enough of the captain. Don't worry. We'll be just fine.
I do have to say this. Malkin the big Russian looks a little slow this year.
TJ. I've seen enough of the captain. We're fine, buddy. We're fine. TJ, the captain won't let us fall.
Yeah. Did you see the other night we scored a shorthanded 3-on-5 goal? And did you see DeSmith basically did a shovel pass up to the front, and man, that thing looked great.
TJ, when Crosby's putting on plays like a magician and a wizard, and it's 4 games into the season, we're fine. The captain's fine. The captain's fine. El Capitan is fine.
That does it for Yinzer Bros. Guys, sorry, this is a really long one. This will be the longest one ever because we got nothing else to do. We got nothing else to talk about. I'm TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim. We are the Yinzer Bros. Even though this is long, please listen to another one. If you like what you hear, pass it along to others. Stay classy, Pittsburgh.
Still number 1 out here. Right?
See ya.